With every new Assassin's Creed, there comes new characters, new plot, and also a completely new setting. And the setting is important to the Assassin's Creed franchise. It's not just about having a nice location. This setting sets up everything. It influences the characters as well as the gameplay mechanics. Ubisoft before have said that it's a vital step in the pre-production before they even move forward. And in today's video, we're selecting 10 settings that we really think Ubisoft should look at. And number 1, we've selected World War I and World War II. Both played a massive part in history. The downside is many see this as being something that really doesn't suit Assassin's Creed. So many people highlight that Assassin's Creed's, the swords, the knives, the hidden blades. World War II all of a sudden comes about guns, weapons, chemical warfare. But the thing is, Ubisoft have already tried this. In Assassin's Creed Unity, there were moments which tied into the story. This linked into World War II. The missions themselves were called the Time Anomaly Rifts. These rifts were based on different parts of history, not just World War II, but there was a World War II one, which really grabbed people's attention. Not just that, but in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Ubisoft did something similar again, where they also linked into World War I. Both of these were successful, and now fans do want to see a full game based during this time period. And number 2, we've selected the first civilization. Now, the whole main story behind the series is pretty much the first civilization. They were technologically advanced and a very powerful race. The closest that we got to see how they lived was through a Subject 16 puzzle as part of Assassin's Creed 2. You would only see this very short video after you go through and complete all puzzles, and most people didn't do this back during AC2. The only other thing that we know about them is how they ended, which ultimately led to the whole narrative between Desmond's story. But that's really it. That's the most we know about those who came before. There's still a lot of opportunity for Ubisoft to base a setting for an Assassin's Creed before the likes of Origins and base it on the impression that it came as part of the first civilization, given much more advanced technology and, well, a different side to Assassin's Creed. Especially considering it already plays a massive part within the whole story itself, but we still don't know as much as what we could. And number 3, we've selected the Wild West. Yes, I know, this is a bit of a weird one and would also take away certain aspects of the game. For example, parkour wouldn't be as useful, and that definitely takes away an aspect of the Assassin's Creed franchise, but that also hasn't stopped Ubisoft in recent times. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though had parkour abilities, it was actually less animations compared to what they've had before, and in all honesty, it wasn't really needed. It ended up being a massive open world, and most of the time, you either used your longbow, went on foot, or you went on horseback. If we were to talk about the Wild West 10 years ago, most fans would definitely shy away, but now we're in a different position and Ubisoft are fully taking advantage of the Assassin's Creed franchise by going into different directions. It's no longer just about the single linear approach where you have one assassin and you're basing that on a single storyline with the core gameplay mechanics. They're trying to prioritize different aspects to different fan bases, and this would be one where combat would be a must as well as storyline, whereas the stealth and parkour maybe not as much. And number 4, we select Warring States China. This has already been a setting for Assassin's Creed Chronicles, and also we can't forget Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, which is set to be released. But there's still so much potential based in this setting that honestly they should release it as part on the main platforms. Assassin's Creed Chronicles is not a main narrative within the story. It's still a game to play, but it doesn't fit along with the main storyline. And it's going to be the exact same thing with Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, as that will be only a mobile title. But with both of these titles, it shows that there's certainly demand for this location. And Ubisoft are definitely open to the idea. We just need them to push it to a main narrative that fits along with the full title releases. And number 5, we've selected the American Civil War. Now, there's a misconception. Most believe that Assassin's Creed 3 was the American Civil War. It wasn't. It was the American Revolution. And even though the Civil War took place just a few years after the Revolution, it would provide a whole new experience that gives Ubisoft a chance to come back with a better character than Connor. The downside to Assassin's Creed 3 wasn't so much the narrative, it wasn't so much the gameplay mechanics or the setting, it was the main character himself. Connor. Coming off the back of Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, players fell in love with Ezio. And we ended up going to the complete other side of the spectrum with Connor, who just really didn't evolve as time goes on throughout the whole of AC3. He certainly had some great parkour abilities, but arguably he was the most arrogant assassin today. With the Civil War, it would also link into Lincoln's assassination and also John Wilkes Booth, which could be an amazing story either playing assassins or even Templars. It opens the door for whole new characters to be involved, despite using a similar setting, but just now make it more up to date for the current gameplay mechanics. At number 6, we've selected Japan. And what's really cool about this is that Ubisoft are actually working on it. This is Assassin's Creed Codename Red. This is such a good location in recent times that there's been several games that have based their titles in Japan and they've done incredibly well. They've been fun gameplay experiences, and I'm surprised that games as a whole haven't taken more advantage of Japan way before. But now this is Ubisoft's chance to jump in. And because Assassin's Creed Codename Red is in development, of course, this is one that is definitely going to happen. What's actually interesting about this location is many years ago at the beginning of Assassin's Creed, when Ubisoft was talking about the setting, it was brought up quite a few times that they should set one in Japan, base it around a different approach of ninjas. But Ubisoft were dead against it. They even came out to say that they did not want to mix the idea of an assassin and a ninja, because they are two completely different things. But now, here we are. It is a title which is scheduled sometime for 2024, potentially even 2025. At number 7, we selected 19th and 20th century India. India has already played a fairly small part in Chronicles, and of course we can't forget the events of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Evie Fry left with Henry Green to India, where she helped the assassins out there. The only reason she came back was because her brother ended up being taken by Jack the Ripper, and that came into the Jack the Ripper DLC. Now, me personally, I actually enjoyed Evie Fry and Henry Green within Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and I honestly wouldn't mind seeing a return, or at least have them play some part. Based on the lore, it's said that both Evie and Henry had a massive impact on the Brotherhood within India. So whether you get to replay as older versions of them between the events of Syndicate and the Jack the Ripper DLC as Evie and Henry, or whether or not it's much later and you get to see the aftermath of everything that they've done, or even have them as mentors. At number 8, we've selected the Roman Empire. With such an incredible part in history, how can this not be included? The Roman Empire was one of the greatest and most influential civilizations in the world and lasted for over 1,000 years. The extent and length of their reign has made it hard to trace the rise and power of their fall, but that opens the door for a lot of creativity within the narrative for the story itself, whether you get to see its uprise or even its downfall, which is the way that I would like to see it. With Ubisoft always looking for historical moments to really take advantage of, this is definitely one that they need to look at. At number 9, we've selected the Russian Revolution. With Assassin's Creed, there's already been many revolutions which have taken place, and it definitely opens the door for there to be lots of graphical and gory content, which the fanbase I think is all for. One that hasn't been explored is the Russian Revolution. Now this could tie into what we mentioned earlier, another setting where we mentioned World War I and World War II, because the Russian Revolution took place just after the First World War. This was the decline of the Russian Empire, and led to there being multiple revolutions, with it also going into a very bloody civil war. With a game like this, it opens up many opportunities to have some amazing combat. That's the opportunity here, and that's why it's included as part of our list. And at number 10, we've selected Babylonia. Babylon and the cities and tribes of southern Mesopotamia is definitely a location and a setting which could be explored. It definitely suits the style in which Ubisoft go for normally with Assassin's Creed, maybe even something similar to the likes of Assassin's Creed Origins. This is a setting which maintained their high, rich heritage in architecture, literature, festivals, and communal life. And the real cool thing is that Babylonia's history was already long and complex before you even start to think about bringing its history into a game setting. So there's loads of opportunities to influence and even try to bring in assassins during this time, so you can tie historical accuracy alongside making a very compelling story. But here is the 10 settings that we've selected for a future Assassin's Creed. Some of these we already know are under development, whereas others it would be nice to see Ubisoft revisit or even talk about. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Is there one of these that you agree with, disagree with, or would you like to see something completely different? If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking the next video on screen. That video has been selected specifically just for you. No one else is getting it, so click that video and I hope